Yeah, I mean, the men's program here is much larger
Than the others.
than the women's program. I'm not saying that there are more female, that there are more men that are homeless or in that bad situation, but men are a lot more prideful, and they would be less likely to come in and get help. I think.
Yeah.
So they'd be more likely to stay on the streets than homeless in the first place.
Their parents have lost their job or something like that. It's for it's economic reasons, usually job related. And so what happens is that a family moves in with another family, and they, for economic purposes, I'm having to go. My family would go live with my sister's family because I can't pay the rent, the utilities. I don't have a job, and so let people live together for those purposes.
It's up to the individual student on what they want to do with their life. I think about myself. I grew up very, very poor and wasn't afforded a lot of opportunities. So, sometimes it's tough. If you're in a crime-ridden area and there's a lot of drugs and you're exposed to violence and everything like that, you have to be strong. You have to say no. You have to determine what you want to do with your life and what you want to get out of your life. But it's, for a lot of kids, it's not fair because, they're really in very dangerous areas. And so I think it can have an impact. Yeah. In this school, we probably have about 7% of our students at any given time that are homeless. When you categorize homeless, a lot of our kids decide, okay, I don't want to live at home anymore. I want to move in with my boyfriend. I'm going to move in with my friends and things like that. So technically that could be homeless. They don't have a home. But, I'm seeing a lot more of that. And I'm seeing a lot more of genuine homelessness where families are homeless. They've been evicted. They, are living on the streets. We have a couple of kids. Their families have been deported, and these kids are just in the States on their own, and that's genuinely concerning.
Much the same program is offered there are opportunities offered for all students. I mean, we want to make sure that, people receive tutoring, that they have support, that if they move, a homeless student, somebody who qualifies for being homeless, and if they move out of Irving School District, then we'll provide transportation, either DART passes, DART bus, DART rail, or in some cases we'll have a bus go and get them, even though they don't live in the district. So there's that, and then any kinds of resources as far as if they need those everyday things: food, shelter, clothing, so anything like that.
Well, we have federal programs called McKinney-Vento program that allows students some additional support. We also partner with Community in Schools. Mr. Putman, he helps with that. Our counselors, we have outside agencies that we can consult with. We have a social worker on site that helps with our homeless students through the district. And so we're very fortunate in that is that we have a lot of support. We have one of the larger populations of homeless students in the district, and so we get extra support for that.
It's a year program. The first 6 months is the first phase, and in that you don't work. You have classes that you attend throughout the day. You have devotions, but there is a second phase, which is after your 6 months, and you go into job search, and you find employment, and then you work up until you graduate within that year. Once you graduate, then you transition out into society.
Yeah, in that way, it's very different from places like the Bridge, where it's a place to sleep at night, and then during the day, they kind of put you back out and let you do your own thing. You can come back at night and sleep. So here, it's like once you commit to the program, you stay here. And they take care of you. Give you a place to sleep, a place to eat, food to eat, as long as you're participating and stay committed to the program. It's a lot easier to become homeless than people think.
Easier?
Easier. There are so many different factors that lead to it. I mean, like we just talked a little bit about addiction and some social reasons, but I mean, not everybody that's homeless is an addict. Not everybody that's homeless is struggling with self-control or like bad people or made bad decisions. Sometimes life just puts you there. So, places like this and other shelters that that have a spirit of mercy, and to see through what a lot of people initially just look at, just a homeless person, they must just be a bum. There's so much more than that,
Like
We've been
what
blessed
they've
to be
been
a part of.
through.
Right. You never know what somebody's going through or they've been through. So, it's a blessing.
Believe it or not, I was homeless at one point in my life. When I left Oklahoma, I moved down to Texas with a couple of friends. My girlfriend and I broke up, and the car I had broke down here, and the two guys I moved here with were brothers, and they got in a fight between themselves, and they left. And so I was here in Texas and didn't know anybody. And my car blew up, and I didn't have any money. The house that we were renting, the rent was due. And so I ended up staying at the Union Gospel Mission for about 3 weeks in Fort Worth off Lancaster Street. It's pretty scary, And so I know what homeless. I've slept in the park. I've slept in the park for about 3 or 4 days. It's tough. At that level, you can't think of anything else other than, for me, I mean, I wasn't a drug addict. I wasn't an alcoholic. I just knew that, man, what a sucky situation I was in, and I didn't have any choice. I wanted to eat. I didn't want to commit suicide. I wasn't really depressed. I was in survival mode, and I knew I had to do something. So, a lot of the homeless guys, some of the bums, and, they'd go to the library and stuff like that. They make you leave the mission at 6:30. So, you had to do something. And, I was getting a paper and trying to find a job. And I remember, walking up that street trying to find a job. And I remember this lady stopped to ask me directions. I tried to keep myself clean shaven and everything, and so I could get a job. And she pulled over asking me for directions. I ended up asking her for change. I never panhandled before, and I asked her for change to buy the bus, the transit bus, and they took me to where I needed to go and got a job through my bag in the bushes and got a job at a warehouse. And once I got that job, I lived at a no rundown motel and just started working my way up. Again, rebuilding my life, Don't give up, because it's tough when you are, and I remember this firsthand, when you are down and out, when you are the lowest you've ever been in your life, and you're hungry and you're cold and you're tired and you feel like life has not treated me fairly, and this just sucks. It's hard to see tomorrow. It's hard to realize that there's a better life out there, and because it's easy to throw in the towel. And I just tell them not to give up. Don't do it. I had a couple of guys I knew when I was on the street that did commit suicide or that turned to drugs or alcohol and destroyed their life. But, for me, I just knew there was something better in my life. And I knew I wanted something better out of my life.